name's Kyle, or Elder Kyle Bradshaw, or was. I was serving in the Bahia Blanca, Argentina mission. Um, I left last year. I came back this year, and I won't be going back. Just for all of you war members that don't know, I won't be going back. It was a hard decision to make, but felt strongly. Talking with the Savior and in prayer and with my family. Be best if I stayed. Um, my experience as a missionary, going into it, I heard a lot of people saying that your companions would be the hardest thing for you to deal with. It's very true, for me at least. Um, I would think I had the two spectrums of the missionaries. Um, the most obedient missionary in the mission, as well as the least obedient missionary in the mission. And that happy in between where it's do the things out of your willingness to do so. And yeah, I went down, starting the mission with a we call him Quadrado, just a square guy. And his name was Elder Sheffer. He was a very nice guy. And I don't really know much more to say about him. We got along really well, played lots of Magic. And I had another elder immediately following him, Elder Chiroy. At the time, you don't really, when you start the mission, you don't really know about a lot of the ins and outs of which missionaries are which way. Turns out he was the worst missionary in the mission, and I found that out the hard way, just by sitting there watching, being very confused about why we're not leaving the house. And gradually became a aching pain where it was, I'm kind of getting sick of being here. Why is he doing this? And he was finishing his mission, but later on I heard that he was doing the exact same thing, not leaving the house, not working any of the mission. And it kind of hurt me and made me think, well, what would I want to get out of my mission? Do I want to work hard and get a good experience out of this, or do I want to be a lazy butt and still get a quote unquote good experience, but not the type of experience that you would expect from a missionary? And so I had to work with that as I was going along, thinking, well, what is obedience to me, and how far do I need to go for that? Yeah. And now for the favorite part of this is a few of the people I was able to meet in the mission. In Argentina, a lot of the people are very cold-hearted. At least where I was. I would message friends that were in other missions in Argentina, literally just one mission north of mine, and they're talking about we're having great success. We literally baptized 10 people last week, and in my mission, we would be lucky if you had one. I would like to think it is because we're more European styled area, but it was very hard at times. You get offended a lot in the streets. They would call names, they would throw rocks, heck, they would rob us. Frequently, actually. It's not the best. But there were good people there. One of them, his name was Gonzalo. With one of my best companions. We found him and we taught him. He was just 19 years old. And he turned 20 when we first started teaching him. He had been talking to the missionaries, but had no interest in us whatsoever. He had a son at 18, and he loved that kid to death. And me and my companion, it was Ellerino, Jose. We decided to be friends with them first. We went to his house from time to time, and we talked to him every single other day. He had work, but he'd always make the time to come and talk to us. A little while after, I was new to the area when my companion, Ellerino Jose, told me that we were going to go teach him. Turns out, Ellerino Jose had the impression that the week before transfers that he should go talk to him again. He went and knocked on the door, and Gonzalo opened the door. He could see the beer bottles all over the floor, and underneath the assumption of the demographic, he was probably drugging himself at the same time. And that was all because he had undergone a withdrawal from his son. Him and his wife were divorced, and he lost custody. He wasn't following the law like he was supposed to, and he lost the kid. And so it was a lot coming from him to see him happy, smiling, and just all around having a good time with us. Because the first time my companion met him, he was very, very depressed. And about 2 months later, we were able to baptize him. And lucky for us, one of his best friends was actually a returned missionary. I got to know her very well as well. She was a wonderful person. After his baptism, though, they always say that your baptism brings challenges. And his was the case. He was with his son again. He was at his parents' house just 2 doors down. But they heard a knock at the door, and in came the police. They'd taken away his son because he wasn't where he was supposed to be, and he hadn't given forewarning of where he was going to his ex-wife. And so he was without custody with his son for another month. And the day after that incident, me and Ellerino Jose felt we didn't know about any of this. We had just casually felt like we should just stop by his house that day. And we stopped by his house literally the day after all this happened. And knocked on the door. He let us in immediately, and he said, "It's nice to see you guys. It's really nice. I really needed you at this moment." He explains the whole entire story, and we're just sitting there thinking, wow, that really sucks. Had I not been a member, I probably would be in the same situation I was when you found me. I'd be jerked up on my bed and I wouldn't be doing anything. Every single time I saw him, he always had a smile. I never thought anything would be wrong with him. He had good aspirations to do things, and everything started to look up after that. He was working more. He had better aspirations to go back to school and finish his his high school diploma. It was nice to see that change. Next, I met this lady. Her name was Rosabelle. It was in the same ward, actually, as with Gonzalo. When I got in there, my companion, Elder Hinojosa, he pointed out, he said, that lady up there in the corner, yeah, she's been listening to the missionaries for the last year. She still isn't baptized. What? Why? She's an immigrant from Venezuela. She wants to take things at her own pace, but it's been a year. I think she smokes, she drinks, and she still has a boyfriend back in Venezuela. And she's not sure if she wants to leave all that behind just yet. When we got there, I was still learning Spanish. I only had about 6 months of Spanish under my belt. And Argentine Spanish sounds a lot cleaner than Venezuelan Spanish. And I can hardly even understand Mexican Spanish, at least Mexico City. And so when I walked up to talk to her, I had no idea what she was saying to me. And it was a very awkward interaction at the very start. And when we were, I would always have to have my companion right there with me, the native companion. Because, yeah, if I was there by myself, the conversation would die immediately. But we had been talking to her, and we would make conversation with her every single day that we saw her at church. She was working every day. Other than church, just or Sundays, and the only time that we would be able to see her was on the Sundays at the church. And little by little, we were able to have conversation with her after church and during church. And with the push of the bishop, we were able to get her into a teaching state where we were able to start teaching her the lessons. And we taught her lesson by lesson. And there's one day where, can you grab me a tissue? Where we were teaching her a lesson. And we felt strongly that maybe it would be best if we repeated this lesson. Because during the time that we were teaching her, she was still smoking, she was still drinking, and she was changing. And we weren't sure why. And it was during a zone conference where we had learned from her or from our mission president, that we should teach about the love of Christ. And so that's exactly what we did, day after day. We would send her messages of scriptures to read every day. It got really hard at times to find specific ones for specific subjects. And we weren't the best at remembering to send them each day. But she appreciated them, and she worked on it. And there's one day where I was with a different companion at the time, and we were sitting down, and we had the mission leader with us at the same time while we were teaching, and we were talking about the word of wisdom. And I had known her for the last 3 months. My companion was new. He only had about 2 weeks in the area. Be it he was the senior companion, I was the minor companion, but I was the one doing most of the teaching. And she had stopped me at one point. She said, actually, I had to stop smoking altogether. And every single time I went outside to smoke, there'd be a sister that would be walking down the street, and they would try to talk to me. Or I'd feel strongly that, actually, I'm not in the mood for a cigarette right now. And she said, all that started happening right after you guys first started talking to me about how Christ felt about me. And it was interesting that she was able to stop. And at this moment, I was overcome with emotions. I had seen this lady day after day. She was always doing the same exact thing. But then all of a sudden, in 1-2 weeks, she stopped the habit she's been doing for almost her whole entire life. she was a crier and I'm a crier when I start to feel the Spirit. And I asked her if she wanted to be baptized. At that moment, my companion was doing bullets at me. He wasn't sure why I was asking that question. But I just kept going with it. And she didn't accept what she said she would think about it. We said, well, we have a baptism today of a little girl we just really found. An incomplete family. If you want to stay, we'll be happy to answer any questions, and hopefully you'll feel something. She said she'll stay. Or she would stay. And when I went to the bathroom, I was the one doing the baptism. I was changing, and my companion came in. He said, dude, why did you ask her that? I felt strongly that we should ask her. Why shouldn't I? And he said, well, she never answered the question about if she stopped drinking or how she is with her boyfriend. I felt what I felt. I'm sorry. And we had a disagreement. I got vocal, he got vocal, and he left the room early, and he said, we shouldn't talk about this right now. We have to focus on the baptism. We don't want to take away from this. And after that, I had to do some inner reflecting as well as him, and we had talked about how sometimes the feelings you get, if you get strong feelings, sometimes they're not always of the Spirit. You have to be very careful to discern the difference. And that wasn't something I was familiar with completely just yet. Granted, she did get baptized on the day I did ask her to be baptized, but not in the way that I was intending. She had gotten back to us about a week after I even asked her the question. After the baptism, we tried to talk to her, but she just disappeared. And lucky for us, she was ready. And her mom was there along the whole entire way. She was about 50 years old, 52, and her older brother was the one that was able to baptize her. And that was a long time going. She was with the missionaries when she was in Venezuela. She had to move because of difficulties in Venezuela at the time. And I felt honored to be the person to get to know her from the start to the finish. I met her the first day I was there, and I got to see her baptized the last day I was there. It was a very nice experience. And the last thing is the experience I had while I was in quarantine. In Argentina, when I came home, me, Breck, and I don't think anyone else from the ward, but me and Breck, when we came home, we were in quarantine for 2 weeks before that. Because Argentina, they a little bit more proactive than we are. And so they put the whole entire country into lockdown besides pharmacies and supermarkets. And I was stuck in an environment for elders for the whole entire 2 weeks, and it was hard. At points, you get so sick of reading, or you get so sick of talking, that we started just sleeping whenever we felt like sleeping. And time would fly, and going outside wasn't a thing because you would get arrested and fined if you went outside without reason. And so I was able to do a lot of reading, which isn't something I enjoy doing. For all of you that know me, I'd rather be reading a math book, textbook, or anything else besides some work of literature. I'm not an English major by any means, and so it's a hard activity for me to do. But I was able to get started reading and finish the Book of Mormon while I was in quarantine. And almost every single time I was able to find answers to questions I had. in one or two chapters after I had started reading. And I found that interesting that almost always I was able to find an answer to any question I had. Any problem or a casual concern. I borrowed a book from one of the other elders in the house entitled Case for the Book of Mormon. I read a book for the first time in my life in under a week. Heck, I read it in 24 hours. I never felt so strongly about anything I've ever read in my life. Is that I found a lot of the materials for questions I had going into the mission and during the mission. It answered questions about the witnesses and the importance of them, the historical importance of the Book of Mormon, and a lot of the materials that are talked about in the Book of Mormon. And it made a strong case, as it would allude to the title of the book. And upon returning home, I've seen a lot more people than I would like falling away from the church for various reasons. One of them being a very dear family friend. And it's just for silly reasons. He took the time to do the research, but not in the right places. God has a reason for all of us to be here. If it's not in the way we liked it, just like how it happened to me with Roosevelt, or if it's going to be a really, really strong change instantly, like with Gonzalo, it's all through our personal determination to be able to find the answers in the way that we need to find them and practice them. I learned to love the people that I taught. I cried a lot when I left Argentina. It's a beautiful country. It's got a lot of problems, but it's a beautiful place. I know God lives. I guess in Spanish. Quiero decir que no es español, es castellano, pero sé que El Salvador vive. Por medio de mis experiencias, sé que es verdad que todas las personas en mi vida están enseñándome por medio de los ejemplos que ellos muestran para mí. Sé que el libro de Mormón es verdad y que todas las historias por dentro son verdaderos. Que los ejemplos de ellos son perfectos. No perfectos, pero podemos aprender mucho por medio de esos.
Y Jesucristo tiene muchísimo amor para todos. Él está ayudando a todos nosotros en cada momento, en cada lugar y ni importancia o no tiene importancia el color de nuestra piel o nuestra atracción a otros o cualquier dificultad que tenemos. Él tiene muchísimo amor para todos y es importante que todos nosotros tenemos eso para nosotros y que aprendemos eso. Y sé que todas las cosas que los profetas están enseñando a nosotros, presidente Nelson, ahora que necesitamos escucharlo y tener cuidado en nuestra situación. Nuestra situación aquí en casa puede ser una ayuda o puede ser un desafío que no podemos superar los problemas de, de nuestras dificultades, de nuestros testimonios. Invito a todos ustedes a estudiar el libro de Mormón y aprender por medio de él. Y digo todo eso en el nombre de Jesucristo. Amén.